Hello and welcome to the Knife Magazine YouTube channel. Today, a review of the July 2022 edition, which is in the mail now to our subscribers. The only way you can get a copy of Knife Magazine is through a print subscription obtained through our website, knifemagazine.com, or an online subscription available through knifemagazine.com. If you order a print subscription, you'll get it in a plastic envelope just like this, which protects it from the damages that could be sustained through the mail system. Plus, you get a nice whiff of the print smell when it comes in. Anyway, each issue of Knife Magazine is 50% larger than a standard magazine. And the print quality and paper quality are first rate. We're presently running at 52 pages an issue, and this particular issue features a cover on red, white, and blue utility knives by our longtime staff correspondent and friend, Dennis Ellingson of the Oregon Knife Collectors Association. Thank you, as always, to our advertisers such as Case and Buck, and Admiral Steel, and the many other companies that support what we do. You can see the complete table of contents here. And Dennis's article, which is actually a revision of an article he did for us many years ago, features a story on these knives with patriotic celluloid handles, typically in scout knife patterns, but not always. This particular article features just the utility knife patterns. Did I just call them scouts? I'm sorry, Dennis. Utility knives. The term scout knife should really only be used on official scout knives. Anyway, Remingtons here, more Remingtons, junior size. And Schrade made examples. And here's a Valley Forge. The second article in this month's issue is a much requested piece on mirror finishing by our Canadian correspondent Del Corsai. This is really a how-to story and talks about how the masters have developed techniques to do mirror polishing in a very effective and efficient way. So in this particular case, Del, who has done his own mirror finishing on his own knives for many, many years, consulted with Steve Johnson, knife-making legend, and the current president of the Knife Makers Guild, Todd Begg, both masters of the mirror finish, and determined their techniques from them, and then incorporated them into his own techniques that he has used for many, many years, and came out with a new process, which he explains in the article. He explains Steve's process and Todd's process, and then the final process that he wound up with, and explains what materials are used and techniques to get the sort of mirror finish that is a real knockout. This article goes on and on and on in great detail about how to get that finish. What Is It has been a fixture in Knife World and now Knife Magazine since 1978. Bernard Levine, acknowledged expert on knives, gives his thoughts on different historical knives each month, and this particular one deals with an unusual type of folding, well, sort of a barrel knife. It looks like a barrel knife. You can decide for yourself what it is, but a very interesting design that has actually been done in modern times, similar type locking mechanisms by such makers as Leon Pittman. Clay Alders, who is our web editor, contributed an article on knife radio, on the various podcasts that are out there dealing with knives, which there are some wonderful things out there that I have just begun to explore, and we talked to some of the leading ones here, the Knife Junkie podcast and the Knife Perspective podcast, as well as some of these other. The Catch Bit Show is a new one that staff correspondent Neil Punchard is involved with. Woody Offutt has contributed a field trial this month on the Hogue Trauma first response tool, which he likes very well. And we have a contribution from the Knife Makers Guild Board of Directors, Jason Fry specifically. Thank you, Jason. Reporting on the events at the Texas Blade Show, now the show in Fort Worth that happened recently. Artistry and knives, the usual selection of interesting things, including one I must point out from my old friend Myron Tupo, a really interesting all-wooden switchblade. I don't imagine that the edge holding is very good, but certainly it's an interesting knife. Knife news on the latest and greatest in the knife industry, including some things that have just been released at the recent Blade Show. And here's a continuation of the mirror polishing article. And here's a contribution from Stephen Dick, who's been writing in knife magazines about as long as I've been reading knife magazines. A really interesting article here on a classic knife, the lock blade version of the Schrade folding hunter, the old timer folding hunter, which is now being redone by a knife maker working under the name of Lucas Ford. Essentially, it's a modern fixed blade version of the old folding knife design. So we talk a little bit about some of the other things that are available in that style and how the knife works. It's a test of the knife. It's a hunting knife. It's a hunting knife, so you test it as a hunting knife. Some other knives by Lucas Forge. The Knife Rights Report from Knife Rights, and Acti has a really interesting piece here too on pocket clip and whether that constitutes a concealed carry option or whether it's not concealed legally. Bruce Voiles, Cutlery Hall of Famer, contributes 2 columns to us each month, and this particular one is Bruce on the Loose is his editorial. More continuation of the previous articles. And this is his second contribution each month, which is Edgewise, which is a column that deals with values of collectible knives. This particular one deals with what he's calling the middle marbles, which is the era between the original Marbles era, Marbles Arms and Manufacturing Company, Marble Safety Acts Company, up to the 1970s. And then there was a period of inactivity up to 1997, I believe. And between 97 and I think sometime in the 2000s, there were some really fine marbles knives produced in association with the Marbles company. And eventually the Marbles brand was sold off and went through some other iterations and wound up with Smoky Mountain Knife Works, where the knives today are less expensive and still interesting, but they're no longer American made, and the collectability of these items from the middle era has really taken off. So, and of course we wind up with the largest events calendar in the industry, except for the one on our website, and our classified ads, and of course our book section. We carry as many knife books as anybody, and ones you probably won't find anywhere else. Thank you to Jansen, of course, Bluegrass Cutlery, and all of the other advertisers in here, M. Custa, John Davis, blacksmithsdepot.com, Buckeye Engraving. There's so many of them. And thanks to all of them for their support, and to our subscribers for allowing us to do what we do in producing what we believe is the finest knife magazine available today. Thank you for visiting the Knife Magazine YouTube channel, and have a wonderful day.